In order to put a plan together, you have to have the billing done right.
I agree, Mr.
So,
Stacy.
however you want to go at it, Trustee Henyard, start next door, then come see me when you get a plan together.
No, I'm coming to see you, Matt. Know that. I'll be there tomorrow at 9 o'clock. They won't let it in.
Oh yeah, coming back at you, that is nothing but class and elegance from Trustee Tiffany Henyard. And today we are once again traveling back in time to see who this person was that the people of Dolton voted into office as mayor. What we just heard was Trustee Tiffany Henyard talking very aggressively towards one of the department heads, and this guy's name is Matt Stacy. He used to be head of public works back then. And the subject they're discussing is the water shutoff days, and so Trustee Tiffany Henyard is trying to get everyone on board with approving a new ordinance where the residents who are late on paying their water bills won't have to suffer through having their water cut off over the weekend if they pay their bill by Thursday. So you guys, before we get back into Trustee Tiffany Henyard's righteous fight for the residents, if you're new here and like what you hear, please leave this video a like. And if you're a returning subscriber, please remember to leave it a like as well. Let's start the show.
Mayor, what's the criteria for turn on, shut off, and turn on?
What's the criteria? What happens is when the bill, if they get shut off and the bill is paid, they are advised that the water will be turned on within the next 24 hours.
48.
Okay, 48, you're exactly right, in 48 hours. And one of the reasons that was designed because of the number, you've probably seen the list of the number of shutoffs that's on a daily basis.
Okay, so they got 48 hours. Come on, just stick with me for 1 minute so the residents can follow.
I'm just trying to tell you, so while they're conducting shutoffs, they also do turn-ons, but they don't say, hey, we're going to have it back on in 24 hours. They say 48 hours because of the amount of work that that they have on a daily basis. Now, you talk about Markham may not have as many shutoffs as we do. So there's a bunch of variances that come into play here. All I'm saying is that if you want to put a certain time in place and have the water restored on the same day that it's turned off, you need to decide whether you want these guys to work, which may include overtime.
So that's a logical point the mayor brought up, that there would almost indefinitely be overtime involved if they're going to expect public works team to complete more water turn-ons before the weekends come. So what do you think Tiffany's response was? I'm sure you guys already guessed she's going to answer in a very respectful and professional manner like she always does.
We can't let people just keep complaining and want to come and move in our community and we do nothing in regards to services. Services is key. And I keep telling you guys that Matt's department, which is public works, that's the root of any community. If they fall, we all fall.
And Trustee, you also have to realize the fact that, and I told them don't turn any water off during this freezing period.
Well, they ain't listening. They cut off a ton of people water, so I don't understand.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did. That's why I put it on the agenda.
No, they didn't.
They did.
I know why you put it on the agenda. I got the thing here why you put it on the agenda.
Why did I put it on the agenda? My seat not up, so why did I put it on the agenda?
Because
I've always advocated for people. Why else would I put it on the agenda, Mayor?
Okay, just answer this question. Do you want to pay overtime to get the water turned back on the same day?
It's not about overtime. It's about him restructuring his department.
We have to work under the contract, the union contract.
And get a plan. I can sit down and make a plan.
You have to work under the union contract.
Mayor, do you want me to sit down and put that plan together?
Yeah,
I can
put one together. We'll look at it.
Okay, so Matt, tomorrow, are you available? What time? I'm gonna come to your office and make a plan. 6:30. No. What time are you available? Not what time you're there. So 6:30, you're there to what? 8? So you want to set an appointment with me at 9? I'll be there at 9 a.m.
So first of all, I call bluffing. She's not going to be anywhere at 9 a.m. because she's not a morning person. I mean, just look at this footage right here where she had to show up at court early in the morning. And so a fellow YouTuber, Cafe of Knowledge, said when she saw this footage of Tiffany Henyard is that she looked like a pile of dirty laundry. And yeah, she kind of does. Like, if we think about it, anytime we usually see Tiffany Henyard out, she's trying to have her hair done, makeup done, and designer clothes and all that. But when she has to show up to court early in the morning, it's like she just rolls out of bed. So we know she's not a morning person. Most of these board meetings and everything are held, late afternoon into the evening, into the night. We know she'll stay up at like 1-2 o'clock in the morning shoveling snow, whatever that means. Pun intended. But yeah, let's get back to Trustee Tiffany Henyard. And let's get back to the way she was addressing this department head. I felt like it was totally disrespectful. And all I gotta say is that it couldn't have been me, okay? It just could not have been me. Now, I'm not sure if she just really disliked him for some reason, but she was being a total brat. And I could say another word, but this ain't that kind of channel. Let's continue and see where this goes.
6:30 in the morning.
No. What time are you available? Not what time you're there. So 6:30, you're there to what? 8? So you want to set an appointment with me at 9? I'll be there at 9 a.m.
The other thing, Trustee, we had 9 water main breaks over the last month. So what happens? We pull those guys off, put them on crews to make sure that we get to those water main breaks quickly, because that meter is running and nobody pays that water that's coming up out of the ground but the village.
Mayor,
That's
what's the dates that we cut off? We cut off 7 days a week, or do we stop cutting off on Thursday? What's the shut off date?
No, it's Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. Okay.
7 to 7:30 to 3:30. 7:30 to 3 o'clock, because they get by union, they gotta stop and
7
get
to
wash
3.
up time, whatever.
Okay, so now do you see what my concern is? So if a resident get their water shut off on Friday, you guys, follow what I'm saying. Your water shut off on Friday. They close at 3:30. That means you don't have no water over the entire weekend. 2 days you're without water.
But they've
so my
been
question
warned.
is,
They've been warned on the notice.
okay, some of them saying they not getting warned, Mayor. Some of them saying they not getting notices. You been on the street, I've been on the street. That's what they're complaining about, so that's why I'm bringing it up.
Okay, if you want, and I think this should be a board decision, if you want them to stay out there to continue to turn water on, then we're gonna have to pay overtime. Now, I'm gonna, Trustee House has a comment.
Well,
Okay, so Tiffany is saying that it isn't fair to cut the residents' water off before the weekend, because then they have to go all weekend without water. While I do agree with her on not wanting the residents to go without water, I also agree with the mayor too when he says that they have been warned already about their bills. Now, as this conversation progresses, we will begin to get a better idea on where the real problems with the water bills and shutoffs could be stemming from. But for now, let's listen to what Trustee Jason House has to say about this matter.
I think that the biggest thing is making sure that we set a realistic expectation. I would love an ideal world that people whose water is turned off can be turned off immediately. However, I do want to kind of get feedback from the Public Works Manager, Superintendent Stacy, on whether or not that's realistic, because there is a shortage of manpower. I know they were out all during the cold and all those other weathers, and those things do take priority. So I would ask Superintendent Stacy if it's realistic, and if not, if there's a plan that could be come up with that maybe we could consider that could become realistic. But I don't want to make a promise to a resident of something that we just can't fulfill or put that burden on the Public Works Department.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Jason House is now the mayor of Dolton. Couldn't have said it any better. Very professional, very level-headed, and he knows how to get his point across without insulting people and yelling like a child.
No, we don't have the manpower. We can use more manpower, but the first thing we got to do is get to the water department and figure out the billing situation. Because like I said before, we're getting lists sent over to us, we're turning them off, then we're turning around and going and turning them back on. It all starts over there first. Then you come talk to me and we can sit down and put a plan together. But in order to put a plan together, you have to have the billing done right.
I agree, Mr.
So,
Stacy.
however you want to go at it, Trustee Henyard, start next door, then come see me when you get a plan together.
No, I'm coming to see you, Matt. Know that. I'll be there tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
So from what I gathered, the Public Works Department head seems to believe that the problem is stemming from the water department and how they are billing the residents. So he suggests that Tiffany goes to the water department first to see for herself how things are being ran. And then she can go back to him and they can get a plan together. But then Tiffany just responds with, "No, I'm coming to see you, Matt. Believe that." Type of Debo attitude. Now, honestly, at first I wasn't sure if she was kind of playing around with Matt, because I can see a little smile coming from her. But then after watching her demeanor after what she had said, she appears to be doubling down on her attitude about the situation. I mean, just look at her. Looking like, I don't care, I'll talk to him however I want and ain't nobody gonna do nothing about it. And unfortunately, no one did. And not only did they not do anything about her attitude, they rewarded her by electing her into the mayor's seat. Just unbelievable.
you know, I just know that this board has came before and talked about the urgency. Why is that water still on? Why is that water still on? So however you want to do it, this is just your chance to say, we don't want it off on Friday. You know, we want to, you know, however you want to do it.
I just have one question, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Mr. Stacy?
Turn on your mic, trustee.
Matt, what is the average turn-on time, do you know?
It's usually, depending on how many we have, it's 24 hours, no later than 48.
Okay. And on Friday, if we cut it off, do we make an effort to try to,
Well, see,
on Friday, do we try to make an effort to get it on before the weekend, or do
Yeah,
we?
we set a time with the water department. If they're paid by noon, they'll be turned on by 3 o'clock.
Okay.
If they pay after 12 p.m., if they come in at 1 o'clock, they're not on until Monday morning or Tuesday at the latest.
So,
gonna go in there,
Attorney Murphy, so we
go.
need to put this on the floor for a vote to advocate for the turn on right back away, or what?
Well, why don't you wait till you and the committee chair meet and then make a recommendation? We can take care of it the next board meeting formally.
All right.
So they're going to carry this issue over into the next board meeting and also put it into a committee to discuss it further. This board meeting right here was held in February of 2019. So let's move on to the next board meeting where they continue with this discussion on the water shutoffs.
all right, next thing on the agenda is ordinance number 19-003, amending water shutoffs, 7-6-7-2A of the Dolton Village Code. Trustee Henyard.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 19-003.
Second.
Okay, we don't have an ordinance 19-003. This would create an ordinance. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Murphy.
I believe the trustees Henyard's intention in her communications with me last week was to have an ordinance ready for presentation tonight. I sent the current village code proposal out to Trustee Henyard and Mr. Murphy for drafting of an amendment pursuant to Trustee Henyard's direction, but we did not receive it. So there is no ordinance before the board this evening.
Okay, so Murphy didn't send a amended ordinance?
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
So, since the attorney didn't send the ordinance, Trustee Henyard will not be able to get her item voted on in this board meeting. So let's hear her response to this.
All right, well, just real briefly, I put this on here because I get a lot of complaints in regards to people water being shut off over a 3-day weekend. I have an issue with that. I don't think anybody should have to pay for not paying the village their dollars over 3 days. That means Saturday, Sunday, and Martin Luther King Day. Someone water was shut off, so they didn't get turned back on to that Tuesday. So what I was trying to do tonight was amend this so it was no shut off on Fridays. The shut off will only be Monday through Thursday, and then all turn-ons have to be due by noon, and then you turned on the following day. They get a list. That was my intent tonight. Ordinance was supposed to be drawn up. I don't understand what's going on with the attorney and why he did not do so at our direction. As you just heard, I communicated with the clerk and Attorney Murphy, but nothing was done once again. So I guess this will go on to the next agenda. Thank you.
I have to say, she acted surprisingly mature about her items not being put on the agenda. I was expecting an all-out yelling match, but maybe she was trying to turn over a new leaf. Maybe someone might have talked to her about her attitude during the last board meeting as it pertained to the way she talked to the Public Works Department head. Who knows? But let's continue.
I just want to say something in regards to that, Trustee. I understand your intentions in good faith, but you know, when these water shutoffs are put out there, they usually have been delinquent for 3 months because that's how the billing is done and the shutoffs are done. And usually the customer has had a warning on the shutoffs. Now, considering that we owe the city of Chicago a significant amount of money, when we did put the notice out that water shutoffs would be conducted on a 7-day basis, we had a line wrapped around the building that people were making their payments, and we took in at one one specific time over $2 million. So, I ask that you reconsider this because the notice is usually out there and the account is usually delinquent 3 months. So I think by going to a 4-day shut-off deal would limit the amount of money, revenue that would come in that we need to send to the city of Chicago. So,
Mayor, the only reason
Yes.
why I am considering it is because of the issues we have here at the village. People water is not being turned back on like it should. The whole point was to get the money from you guys. Once you guys come in and pay, they should go and turn your water back on. You should not have to suffer and be 3 days without water.
It's not-
So if the person, hold on, Mayor, if the person pays on Friday, how do they get their water cut back on for the weekend?
well, it's not saying that we're going to wait 48 hours and turn your water on. We're saying is that your water would be turned on within 48 hours. It may entail overtime that we have to pay to the public works employees. When you're putting something in place like this, you have to consider what they have, what duties they have already, what turn-ons that they have already, and depending on when they come in and pay the bill, it may cause overtime on any given day. So,
Okay, well, last board meeting, the board all agreed to not shut off water on Fridays. So that's how this was in place, to write it up as an ordinance. And then not only that, I did speak with your department head, Matt, and Matt was in agreement with what I'm stating as well. I sent an email to the entire body up here stating 2 different ways of handling this. This was the one that everybody wanted.
okay, that's fine if the board wants it that way, but I think you should take in consideration that that's going to reduce the amount of revenue that we need to get in here and meet our obligation with the city of Chicago.
Okay, so much of the same things happening as the last board meeting. Tiffany discussed how she felt it wasn't fair for the residents, and the mayor once again reminded her that it may cause overtime and also decrease the amount of money that they are able to repay the city of Chicago for the water debt that they are in. Now, since the issue didn't get resolved this board meeting, let's move on to the next one.
Next thing on the agenda is ordinance number 19-003, amending water shutoffs 7-6-7-2A of the Dolton Village Code. Trustee Henyard.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 19-003.
Second.
It's been motioned to approve ordinance number 19-003. Any discussion on this?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Trustee Henyard.
Thank you. I put this on the agenda today, you guys, because I have been getting a lot of complaints about you guys' water being shut off. We had an issue where you guys' water got shut off on a Friday, and unfortunately it was a holiday weekend. So your water was off for 3 days. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So basically what I'm advocating for today is that your water gets shut off Monday through Thursday, and not on Fridays, not on Saturdays, not on Sundays. That was for the record. And then also, you have until noon to pay your bill in order to get your water turned back on by 3 p.m. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that. You have until noon to pay the bill to get the water turned back on by 3 p.m. to go on the list. Thank you, Mayor.
Some of the members of this board have brought to the attention of the residents of the community that we are in dire straits for revenue. By the time the notice is out there to get the water to be shut off, it's already usually 3 months past due. And you're talking about, you don't want to cut the water off on Friday because they'll be without water for 3 days. We need to get revenue. And no other village, no other town has an ordinance like this. If you're already 3 months late, you've had several weekends that you had water. When we were in a really dire strait where we needed revenue and we needed to get our water bills paid, we were cutting water off at 7 days a week, and we put that up, and we had a line wrapped around the building, and I think it was 3 days we collected $2 million.
Now, even though they're pretty much having the same type of debate that they had the last board meeting about the water shutoffs, I wanted to comment on this part in particular because the mayor mentions the time they announced that they were shutting off water 7 days a week. And in result of that, they brought in $2 million in a 3-day span. Now, I felt like this was a good example of how people can easily adapt to changes. Because maybe the majority of the people who rushed in to pay their water bill in fear of it being cut off were people who had previously not taken their water bill seriously or just kept pushing it back to the last minute. Now, I know there are people who are struggling, who are on fixed incomes. You know, Dolton, they have a lot of senior citizens there, and people just struggle, period, to put food on the table at times. So the water bill, as much as they probably would like to pay those bills, they just have to push them off. I know sometimes it's not an option, but that's why I said earlier, when people are put to the test, they figure out how to adapt. Now, adapting might not always go smooth, it might not always feel comfortable, but believe me, I've seen multiple people adapt to situations and they survive, because that's the ultimate goal, right? Is to survive and not end up homeless. So what they did when they announced that they were cutting water off 7 days a week is basically they took away a security blanket from the residents who were procrastinating on paying their bills. And I feel when people constantly get a security blanket from their government, they can get too relaxed and complacent, which can then diminish their drive to get things done for themselves and diminish their desire to be financially responsible. I mean, why bother paying your bill this month when you can pay it a couple of months down the line? Wait till it gets shut off and then go pay it. That's at least what I got from what the mayor said. When people know there will be repercussions, they'll be more likely to take care of their responsibilities faster or do the right thing. You guys, let me know how you feel down in the comments. Are you on Trustee Tiffany Henyard's side or are you on the mayor's side? If you're on the mayor's side, go ahead and put a tie emoji along with your comment. If you're on Trustee Tiffany Henyard's side, go ahead and put a wig emoji for your comment. I couldn't even keep a straight face. I don't even know if there's a wig emoji, you guys, but be creative. Whichever side you're on, or if you're on both, just let me know down in the comments. But let's go ahead and continue.
We need to get busy about conducting the business of the village in the right way. And if we want to get back on the right track, we have to do what we need to do. Run this town just like a business. Pay your bills, collect your revenue, provide customer service.
So while I do understand where the mayor is coming from, he's thinking about the debt of Dolton, he's thinking about the numbers, and he wants to run it like a business. But like with any successful business, no matter how many times they crunch the numbers, it doesn't matter how many professionals you bring in to try to overhaul, your different departments. If your employees are not happy, then your company will suffer. And I know there's some companies, well, I won't even call them companies. There's some corporations where they can stand to just fire everybody, close down stores, move on because they make enough money. So they really don't care about the employees. And we know who those corporations are, right? But you guys, we're not going to go on a whole tirade about big corporations, big pharma. We're not going to go there today, okay? That's going to be it for today, you guys. I will be picking back up on this board meeting, and we'll see how this water issue plays out in my next video. But if you made it this far, please remember to leave this video a like, and if you're new here, subscribe.
52 weekends out the year that you're talking about not collecting revenue. And in some cases, the only way that you pay is by, whether it's threat letters or threat of disconnection or even cut off. We only bill 4 times a year for the water department. We only bill 4 times a year. Just say if we got outstanding $3 million for 1 quarter and we only collect $1 million. That means we carry over $2 million to the next quarter, and you got another $3 million that's outstanding. In likelihood, if you didn't collect the other $2 million in the first quarter, you're not going to collect it in the second quarter. Instead of you being $2 million delinquent, now you're $4 million delinquent. We owe the city of Chicago a lot of money, and the only way we're going to get to pay them is to collect money.